Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday. Welcome. Wait a second, folks. Sorry about that. I forgot the light. Welcome, everybody. Sorry about that. Folks, today's going to be a short stream. I'm going to try to get through as much stuff as possible. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to try to get through as many of these stories as possible. Unfortunately, I have really bad allergies, and it's been messing me up for days at this point. So we're just going to try to power through as much of this as possible. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. Bruno, live from Polymarket Studios, Dakota. Good for Gabby. Welcome. I hope everyone's doing all right. Folks, if you want to support the channel directly, there are many different ways of doing so. Please check out the merch store. Hit the exclamation mark tip. Folks, join the Discord. Michael Hasser, welcome. Join the Discord, do the Substack and all the things and all the stuff. I appreciate all of you guys being here. 1 second, folks. I've been preoccupied. Nadia, welcome. Yeah, don't worry. Check out my show on This Space every Tuesday, tomorrow at 7 p.m. So please go show some support there. 1 second, folks. It's all kind of strange. Everything is like just offsetting. 1 second. Okay, that's a little bit better. Alright, folks, let's get started because we got plenty of stuff to go through and not a lot of time, so let's get started, folks. Alright.
Donald Trump is reportedly seriously considering boots on the ground in Iran, and this isn't necessarily the most surprising news ever, since he's been pretty open about the fact that he doesn't have the yips about the prospect of putting boots on the ground. Nonetheless, this would be a significant escalation, and things could very quickly spiral out of control, and lots of people would be murdered as a result of this idiotic decision. But let's get to the news story here. I've got some more commentary afterwards.
I mean, I would say that this thing has already spiraled out of control. This is already beyond.
NBC News reports Trump has privately shown serious interest in U.S. ground troops in Iran. The president's private comments have not focused on a large-scale ground invasion of Iran, but rather on the idea of a small contingent of U.S. troops that would be used for specific strategic purposes. Trump has discussed the idea of deploying ground troops with aides and Republican officials outside the White House, while outlining his vision for a post-war Iran in which Iran's uranium is secure and the U.S. and a new Iranian regime cooperate on oil production, similar to how the U.S. and Venezuela are, the sources said. Interesting. The article continues, publicly, Trump has not ruled out putting U.S. boots on the ground in Iran, though the war has so far consisted only of an air campaign. His private discussions about the idea show a president perhaps more willing to consider taking such a step than his private comments on the issue so far have suggested. Any deployment of American troops inside of Iran could increase the scale and scope of the war and escalate the risks to American forces. And of course to Iranian civilians too, which is a lesser discussed fact in U.S. media.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're gonna talk about putting boots on the ground in Iran, that is a terrible idea. I don't think that this guy understands that, or maybe he does and doesn't care. But putting boots on the ground in Iran is not going to be the same as like putting boots on the ground in like Afghanistan or Iraq. It's just not that. It's just not going to be the same. The U.S. is going to sustain a lot of casualties, and I don't know how the American people are, how long the American people will take that. Ladybug, welcome.
But the fact that he's seriously considering this indicates that he bit off a little bit more than he could chew. He did
100%.
not know what he was getting himself into, and
100%. He was probably told something. He was probably told something along the lines that this would be easy. We're just going to go in and out, and we're just going to go in and out, and then you know, it'll just be some airstrikes. You can assert your little alpha you know, your little alpha male fantasy, and then like that's it, right? Like we're just going to go in and that's about it. And obviously that's not the case. That's not the case at all. He's a dictator and thirsty for power. True. The Moran president thinks he'll be able to control Iran. Yeah, he stated that he wants a personal hand in the selection of the new leadership, which is like laughable. Which is freaking laughable.
he severely underestimated Iran's military capability. He would not already be considering boots on the ground if that were not the case. And there are several indications that the U.S. is completely overwhelmed in the region. They did not expect Iran to put up such a huge fight. He thought that this would be another Venezuela where you...
But like, this is like kind of silly because like we know about this, right? Like we know that Iran is not the same. Iran is like one of the bigger powers in the region. Iran is one of the bigger powers in the region. I don't know why this wasn't obvious, but okay.
Get in, take out their leader, and then you've got, you know, a cooperative regime. That's not the way that the Iran government is structured. I mean, taking out the supreme leader does nothing because this is a decentralized government. So he fundamentally misunderstood the beast that he was trying to slay. Nonetheless, it's going bad because the Shahad missiles that the Iranian government is firing, they are very fast. They're cheaper to produce.
We know he doesn't. Yep. 90 million people nation. Yep.
And when you compare that to U.S. interceptors that are much more difficult to produce, much more costly, well, that kind of goes to show you why Iran may have an edge. And that's not me saying that. This is now being admitted on Fox News of all places. Just like, listen to this. This is crazy.
Yeah, and like also, again, like we definitely overstepped here, 100%. Like, number one, we should not have been involved at all. This should have never started. This is an illegal war. It started by Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. But yeah, we're just not equipped to deal with this. We're just not. It's just obvious to me that the military as it stands isn't really equipped to just like deal with Iran right now. To say that we're going to sit there and do regime change or meaningfully try to subjugate Iran is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The supreme leader doesn't even lead the executive. They are a theocratic republic. True, the Ayatollah in charge functions like a judicial authority. Gotcha.
Is it that they're letting somebody say this?
Well, I think the discussion is how do we plus up our counter drone defenses to, you know, continue to strike down these drones, because clearly some of them are getting through, obviously more than we wanted to. We're seeing more drones penetrate our defenses than I think expected.
Which is obvious because they have so many, and eventually some are going to get through. This shouldn't be like, this isn't very controversial, and they're cheaper to make, so there are going to be more of them. That's why they're not saying the term war, because it's illegal. I agree.
Should be really honest with ourselves about that. That brings up, frankly, a larger issue that I've been talking about on this network for years. We have our critical installations around the world have been vulnerable. There are people in some of our own government offices who have failed the American people in purchasing failed equipment. That's why we're seeing some of these Shahid drones get through. A cheap $20,000 Shahid forcing us to burn multi-million-dollar interceptors, starting fires currently at oil facilities and U.S. embassies. That's unsustainable math. Marco Rubio said the other day we only make...
this is obvious, right? Like, you're dealing with a drone that costs like a fraction of the price and can be made with less complex materials and can be made cheaply and in a more mass produced scale. Is going to outlast a missile system that requires a lot more complex components and a lot more money and time to make. This is basic math. The math isn't mathing, and as this guy on Fox News says, it's unsustainable. Yeah, it costs a lot of money, Bruno. It costs a lot of money to make these interceptor the missiles.
6 to 7 interceptors per month at the tune of $1 million a piece. That doesn't make sense. He probably doesn't know that there are probably, parts of the government acquisition cycle that are still a mess. I mean, I don't know who's in charge of the Department of War's procurement over the last few years to put counter drone systems, but the reality is that we're seeing right now there are gaps.
Now, I'm pretty sure that the Trump regime is aware of this, hence why there's talk of the Defense Production Act being used so that way we can accelerate the production of interceptor missiles. But this just goes to show you that Trump didn't do his homework and Iran did. After the 12-day war back in June or July of last year, it's been a while, but, months ago, they were attacked by the United States and Israel, and they've had time to prepare for every single scenario, and they very clearly did their homework, whereas Donald Trump seemingly invaded on a whim. It looks as if he was goaded into this war with Israel, and Netanyahu almost certainly did not tell him the extent of Iran's capabilities. Because, when you look at Trump and Netanyahu, they're both...
Which is ridiculous. This is insane, right? Because, why would Netanyahu need to tell... we shouldn't be doing this at the behest of the... we shouldn't be doing this at the behest of any government at all. Why are we entering wars on behalf of anybody in wars that we don't belong in? This is insane. This is insane. BCat, welcome. Kirkenstein's Monster, need to differentiate the two streams. There's one says short. One says short, or one should say short.
Evil, but one is very clearly more intelligent. Netanyahu is able to play Trump with a fiddle because Trump is a dumb fuck, and Netanyahu, as evil as he is much more intelligent. So Trump had no clue what he was getting himself into, and now it's gone so bad that the Iranians are saying, no more negotiations. We're done negotiating because we just can't trust the United States government. And with regard to the prospect of boots on the ground, the foreign minister to Iran is now saying, bring it on. He's daring them to put boots on the ground because they are prepared. They've prepared for this scenario. They've prepared for every single scenario. And because that's the case, again, if Trump does this, if you actually send boots to the ground, it's not going to go better than the air war because Iran has prepared. So he is sending...
Yeah, well, I mean, putting boots in the ground in a natural fortress... In a natural, basically a natural fortress is not a good idea. It would go significantly worse than the air campaign, right? This is, yeah. Putting boots on the ground would be really bad. My phone notification cuts that part off. Gotcha. Maybe I should do it in the front. Maybe I should do it in the front next time. BCat, welcome. I don't know if I said hello. My neighbor watches Newsmax all day and told me that Biden did nothing for 4 years and the Dumbocrats need to shut up about this. Biden is their go-to every time. Yeah, why did Biden do this, chat?
U.S. troops to die for Israel for seemingly no good reason. I guess he wants to take the oil, but if you think that that's worth the cost in lives, then...
Yeah, but also if it was about the oil, why are we bombing their oil depots? Why are we bombing the oil depots then? Literally, Tehran is the scene of an apocalyptic movie right now. Life has gotten real rough for me, so I can't do much more than check in. No problem, Nadia. I didn't see that originally. No problem, man. You gotta do what you gotta do, I appreciate
I
you
don't know.
even just hanging out or just watching or just checking in.
I don't know.
You got to take care of you. I mean, I've not been feeling well. Last stream I had to call it off because I literally couldn't do it. And this stream I'm barely hanging in
Know
there.
what to say. But one good sign is that U.S. service members, they don't actually seem to want to do this. Mike Preisner, who is the executive director for the Center on Conscience and War, says he just spoke with the mother of a service member in his unit. They were given one last call home before having to turn in their phones. He told his mom that they were going boots on the ground tonight. So this is another indication that
Yeah, I know. I'm hanging. I'm trying to hang in there, Kirkenstein. Okay, look, I'm trying to hang in there. There's no microphone on the planet. Okay, there's no microphone on the planet that can fix, that can fix really bad, messed up, allergy-ridden. Just been like dying for the past like 4 or 5 days. Okay, there's not a microphone on the planet that can fix that. Okay.
Trump is serious about putting boots on the ground, but not confirmation. Anyways, Preisner continues, he told her his commander said that they were doing this to bring about the second coming of Christ. Very normal shit for a commander to be saying, by the way. I can also confirm that they did not tell them this was a combat deployment until it was too late. Everyone was told that they were only going to training. So they are lying to U.S. service members, not saying this is a confirmation that the U.S. is invading, just that at least one soldier told their parent this before losing all access to communication. Now, Preisner explains that he was part of the buildup to the invasion.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this was the exact same like lines that they were doing in 2001 and 2003, right? Like the circa 2001 and 2003. I'm pretty sure it was like the same thing. Thank you, Kirkenstein Monster. Why are you a soldier starting a mutiny by the pace of how this is going? Because it's illegal. Not enough of them are disagreeing. I do think that every service member should disobey illegal orders 100%. I think that any U.S. service member should be disobeying any illegal orders. I think that this war that they've started is illegal. It's under illegal pretenses, and I think that by definition, any illegal order issued should be disobeyed by the military
of Iraq during February and March of 2003. And, you know, it's very reminiscent of that. It doesn't prove that the U.S. is putting boots on the ground as we speak, but it is a definitive sign that they are indeed preparing to. And right now, Preisner says that they're weighing many factors. Now, the Center on Conscience and War says that they got a call yesterday from a service member facing deployment who is not only filing for conscientious objector now, but reports a widespread opposition to the Iran war within their unit, and he's going to be sharing their number with everybody else. Now, they follow up saying that if you agree that Trump's war on Iran is wrong, you don't have to participate. They can help you explore options if you call 1-800.
This is so important. To your point, Bruno, like here it is. If you are a conscientious objector, this is exactly the type of resources that people need to be spreading around. I really appreciate Mike Figueroa for boosting this. Absolutely, take a screenshot of this number, share it. If you have if you know service members or have service family members who are service people, and they are against this war, this illegal war, this senseless war, then please give them as many resources as possible. I'm just me. Welcome. I've been having the worst high school deja vu with the last couple of weeks. It's insane and infuriating, and also I just can't believe how little memory most people have. Yeah, 100%. In fact, I've said, you know, I was pretty young during the 2001, 2003 wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, respectively. But it's all the same. It's the same lines. If you look at all the coverage from 2001 and 2003, it's the exact same lines. It's all the same BS. In fact, they're not even trying to put that much effort to hide it this time, honestly.
379
It's like they know that the public doesn't really want this, so they're just going for it with whatever nonsense. Like, doesn't matter if the first reason makes any sense, though it contradicts the second reason, right? Like, oh, they have nukes. Well, actually, it's about most ballistic missile capability. Well, actually, it's about regime change. Well, it's actually not about regime change. It's about, like, it just changes constantly. It doesn't matter.
2679. And I would implore you to share this number with everyone. If you know a service member or you know somebody with family who could be deployed to Iran, let them know that they don't actually have to die for Israel in Iran. Because if they invade, if this is a ground invasion, that is very dangerous, to put it mildly. And
yeah, like I don't think people, like, just to reiterate again, like, Iran is like basically a natural fortress. Okay, it is basically a natural fortress, and strategically speaking, it is a absolute nightmare to do a ground invasion on. It's insane. This is insane that they're even considering this, and I truly believe that Donald Trump absolutely is considering this. I don't know if he's made the decision yet, but he's absolutely contemplating this 100%.
on top of that, even if they survive, they are going to be expected to commit atrocities. We're talking war crimes, things that they can be prosecuted for, and this is not something that they should be doing.
Yeah, like the school that they hit, okay? Like the school that they hit. It's been confirmed that it was our missile that did it.
So I would implore you to share that number far and wide, because they need to know that they don't actually have to do this just because Donald Trump says that they have to do it. Now, with regard to the threat that Iran poses to us, I want you to keep in mind that U.S. media is trying to make it seem as if there is a possibility, however small, that we could be in danger because of this war. Now, blowback is, of course, a possibility, but I think that the way that the Trump regime, is handling this is very curious. So here's what Pete Kegsbreath, Secretary of War Crimes, said on 60 Minutes.
The president has an incredible knack at knowing how to mitigate those risks.
Oh, yeah, the president has the incredible knack on knowing how to mitigate risks. Yeah. Okay, that is 100% not true. The president doesn't know how to mitigate any risk. He just does shit. Trump says the war is over soon. Do we believe it? Nah, not a second. This guy's going to keep it going. In fact, he told us that we're expected to be... He told us to expect this to be happening in anywhere from a couple of weeks to maybe all the way up to September. Who knows, right? Unless he makes up, like, the only thing that I can think of is unless someone, like, whispers in his ear and he finds some kind of BS excuse to call victory and then pull out of Iran, and then just call total victory, and his base will of course believe it, even though nothing happened other than just a bunch of war crimes, and call victory and pull out of Iran. But like I don't know. I don't know. It seems to me like we're probably going to be in this for a while. Hey, MAGA, are you there? MAGA, what about them gas prices? Are the gas prices good? Huh? How are we going to blame that one on Joe Biden? The only danger for U.S. is all the military bases surrounding Iran and their puppet states. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, make no mistake. Like, obviously, there could be, some kind of like attempt here, but it just seems like, it's unclear.
So the American people can rest assured.
I don't know. Something about that seems like famous last words to me. Now, he said that in response to a question about whether or not Russia was helping Iran in some way and whether or not Trump was prepared for that. I don't think that would be...
Russia says that they're giving information on troop whereabouts. So, yeah, they are.
Earth-shattering news, seeing as how the U.S. helped our ally Ukraine when Russia invaded them. So it's not shocking to think that Russia would help their ally Iran now that we've invaded Iran.
Yep.
But, you know, I think that to just rule out any blowback is idiotic. Of course, you have to consider everything if you actually do want to protect not just U.S. service members, but U.S. citizens. But here's what Trump is doing to stop that for some reason. So the Daily Mail, of all places,
Oh, this stuff. I like literally just I literally just was reading about this earlier. Um. Oh yeah. Also, MAGA hates war until their pro-war chip update happens. Now they're pro-war. Why wouldn't Russia help them anyways? It's not even relevant.
Take what they see with a grain of salt. Nonetheless, they're reporting that Trump's White House is blocking top U.S. intelligence agencies from warning law enforcement across the country about rising threats to the homeland tied to his war with Iran. They say that the FBI, Homeland Security, and the National Counterterrorism Center were preparing to put out a joint intelligence statement on Friday to state and local authorities, alerting them of a heightened threat due to the ongoing war in Iran.
Fantastic.
But Trump blocked that. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that a threat is imminent. In fact, I would say that the probability of Iran hurting us on U.S. soil is very low. But again, blowback is always a possibility.
Yep.
An individual could be really mad about this war with Iran. Perhaps they have relatives in Iran that's dying. Perhaps it's an American that just opposes it. And whenever a war breaks out, you have, these national agencies coordinating with local law enforcement to just help them prepare in the event anything happens. It's a precautionary measure, but Trump is saying, no, they don't need to prepare. Now, again, I don't want to, put this idea into the universe that we're at risk, because the individuals who are truly at risk are the Iranian people right now, and we should be concerned about their well-being. But it's
literally raining black rain. It's literally raining black rain in Tehran right now. It's just a scene out of an apocalypse. When I first saw the pictures, I thought that it was literally like AI, because that's just the world we live in. I like literally my first thought was like, Jesus Christ, is that AI? But no, it's real. It's very much real. It's very much real. I say I'm supposed to be on CNN today. Good question. I don't know. That's a good question.
Prospect of America facing real blowback because of this, it's not out of the question. 9/11 was the result of blowback, right? And I'm not saying we're going to experience that, but of course, it's incumbent on government to prepare for all scenarios. And Trump is saying, no, we're not going to prepare for that. And to me, the only reason why he would do this is because I think that he thinks that he would stand to gain from something like this. Now, this is conjecture. I have no idea. I can't get in his head, nor would I want to. But Trump,
I think he's just I think he's scared. I think he's scared, and he's trying to project strength, right? And say oh, well, everything is fine. Everything is fine, as everything is not fine. So I don't know. Who knows? Quite easily to explain, the U.S. military industry is a huge polluter. Yeah, I know. Look, the ramifications of what we did to Tehran is not going to be seen for a while, but I mean, having those explosions of the fuel depots, it's gonna cause a lot of health issues down the line that we are not going to account for. I guarantee it. We're just not going to give a crap about that. The people there are going to be suffering from health issues for a very long time. I mean, black rain is not good. Okay, the fact that it was raining oil, the fact that there's huge clouds of just pollution, right? Just black clouds is not great. Trump will talk as the pressure from the strait being closed builds. Maybe, and he'll just make up some piss poor excuse to pull out of the Iran war and just say look, we did it, mission accomplished, folks, and then that's it. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe the pressure will make him double down or quadruple down, and this thing gets, even crazier, as if you can imagine. I just genuinely don't know. At this point in time, it's so unpredictable right now. It's unclear what exactly is going to happen, and I think that's the unsettling part about this all. If I'm being honest,
believes that in the event somebody were to retaliate against the United States on U.S. soil, we're not talking bases in Gulf countries. We're talking in a state, Montana, New York.
Yeah, having oil fields burn is not great for the health of the people around them. It's not great for the people around them at all. It's going to cause a lot of health issues.
or something like that. He would love that, I think, because not only would that give him a good justification to ramp up, it would probably get more Americans on board. Sunken cost fallacy. Well, they bombed us here at home, or somebody attacked us, an individual.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It seems like maybe like, I think that if he's going to rely on like a rally around the flag effect, like, I don't know if that's going to happen this time around, okay? This is something that he started, okay? And, I don't know. I don't just think it's going to sell the same way as something like going into Iraq did.
Now we really do have to finish what Trump started. Or on top of that, in the event there was an imminent threat to the United States and there was an attack on U.S. soil because of what we're doing in Iran, Trump could use that in a plethora of ways. He could say, look, now we have to shut down the election.
Yeah, that's probably a good, that's probably a more plausible scenario, right? Like Trump turns around and says, well, I guess there's no elections because, we're dealing with this.
2026 because, look, we're at war and they've come here. They're in our borders and it just could get very ugly. So this to me, like, I'm not talking about this because I want you to worry. I just want you to know that Donald Trump very clearly is an opportunist and he will use anything he can. And this is kind of one of those situations where he might want to put Americans in harm's way just so he can benefit from it in some way. Nonetheless, the regime has said, actually,
I mean, like, this is not uncommon for someone like Donald Trump. So yeah, that totally tracks for someone like him 100%.
Americans have nothing to worry about. And what Pete Hegseth said raised some eyebrows because of the way that he said it.
The only ones that need to be worried right now are Iranians that think they're going to live.
Keep in mind, he did not differentiate between the Iranian people and combatants.
That's so disgusting. Yeah, Trump clearly said it. The Lord Farquaad stuff, right? The difference with Iran is people now have alternatives to mainstream news outlets to help form opinions on the matter. I mean, like, it's pretty obvious, right? Like, it's obvious. The United States and Israel are the aggressors, and that's all pretty much like that's all pretty much the framework that you need, right? Like, say what you will about the government of Iran right now, like, the people are going to rally around the people of Iran are going to rally around rally around their flag for more reasons than we would have to than we would for rallying around our flag, so to speak, right? Right? They're being attacked by us. We're the ones that are starting this. We don't I meant more in comparison to the war in Iraq. What are you talking about? Anyways, the point being is that this is something that we started, and it's our fault. Whatever comes next, it's our fault.
Iranians who think they're going to live. That is what a war criminal would say, and he already said that they're not going to abide by these stupid rules of engagement. So
he is a war criminal. He bombed a school with children.
He is basically broadcasting his intent to commit war crimes. Okay? So I agree with him in the sense that, yes, it is Iranians that should be the most concerned because Americans, for the most part, we are privileged. It will affect us, but in an economic sense. But we're not going to have to worry about bombs being dropped on our head. So the real price that's being paid is by the innocent people in Iran. And I think he's just like, the fact that he's flippantly talking about it that way, as if their lives don't matter, is really, really grotesque, right? And we should always, be concerned about the toll in human life because for whatever economic cost we're going to face, it pales in comparison to losing a loved one or dying because some country decided to invade you. Now, with regard to the economic cost, there will indeed be an economic cost. Some of you might have already noticed that the cost at the gas pump is higher. And to that, Trump just said, if gas prices rise, they rise.
Yeah, Trump wants to collectively punish Iranians. He participated in genocide. Yep. Prices at the pump are already rising, okay? Like, I literally physically saw it. It's pretty freaking bad, okay? It is pretty freaking bad. Again, MAGA, how's the gas situation working out? Are gas prices good now? Are we happy? Is this the Make America Great Again vision here? I'm confused. He also imposed sanctions on the ICC justices. Yep.
He's straight up saying that. But it's worse because Suleiman Ahmed reports Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Qatar are discussing withdrawing from contracts with the U.S. and canceling future investment commitments in the U.S. to alleviate some of the economic strain imposed upon them by the Iran war. Now, why does this...
I mean, that's kind of true. Like, we definitely have more options than we did. But, like, yeah, we back in 2001 and 2003... like we can absolutely see the war crimes being committed. It wasn't all 100% hidden, but even by mainstream media. But anyways, like, not to just kind of get in the weeds. This time around, we do have a much more not just like a more broad way of seeing it, but like it's instant. Like social media. Is instant. Credential commentary. Welcome. The Epstein war continues. Indeed, it does.
Well, it matters because these Gulf countries,
Indeed,
Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, they are heavily invested in American tech companies. We're talking billions of dollars into Google, into Apple, into Oracle, and they are invested specifically in AI. Now, as you all know, the AI bubble is around $1.7 trillion, and the stock market value of these tech companies is so high because of the theoretical projected future profits that could be made. But if the well dries up and these Gulf countries are forced to pull back on their investments because now the U.S. can't defend them like they said that they would, and they have to focus on their own defense, what happens? Well,
it's gonna pop. That's gonna pop. It's time the MAGA switches from being patriotic for paying for higher gas prices. Yeah, of course. That chip update will come soon. Trust me. They'll be justifying higher prices at the pump because Daddy Trump told them that it was fine, or whatever.
AI bubble bursts, and we are looking at a serious economic crisis. We're talking recession, potentially Great Depression, all because Trump decided to invade Iran. So just
Trump was also stupid enough to cut all green energy. Yeah, but I mean, we don't have enough green energy to offset that, unfortunately.
rephrase what I just said, Trump may have pulled the thread that unwinds our entire economy simply by invading Iran. And I say simply not to like downplay it, but by doing this one thing, he may have knocked over the first domino that leads to the collapse of the U.S. economy. Because if the AI industry goes tits up, the economy goes tits up. But things could spiral.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? Maybe it is time for us to get humbled, honestly. Whatever. Let it pop. I don't care. So the U.S. is overly on oil to produce over-rely on oil to produce electricity. Yeah, that's true.
Out of control even further, because the Iranian foreign minister is reporting that the U.S. actually committed a blatant and desperate crime by attacking a freshwater desalination plant on Keshem Island. Water supply in 30 villages has been impacted. Attacking Iran's infrastructure is a dangerous move with grave consequences, and this last sentence here is chilling. The U.S. set this precedent, not Iran. In other words, the U.S. bombed our desalination plant, and now desalination plants in Gulf countries aligned with the U.S. are fair fucking game.
Yeah, and so they are. We're the ones doing this shit. Don't start nothing, no be nothing, right?
So what does this mean? Well, if you look at the water shortage in the Middle East, it is severe. And it's getting worse every single year due to anthropogenic climate change. And they rely on desalination plants for drinkable, potable water. But now that the United States have decided to resort to bombing desalination plants, Iran is going to retaliate and do the same. So this is going to spiral into not just a, war between Donald Trump and Iran. It is going to turn into a massive crisis over water. Because once people start losing their drinkable water, shit hits the fan. And it's not just that the war would get much more bloody. It's that this would trigger a severe refugee crisis. And it's ironic because the Republicans
electricity is with coal, not oil in the U.S. Okay, yeah, you might be right on that one. Yeah, you might be right
are
on
the
that.
most averse to
I'll be honest. Yeah, you're probably right.
refugees coming into this country,
Yep.
they keep doing things that create refugee crises. Like, do you think that people in the Middle East are just going to stay there if they don't have drinking water? No, it's a human reaction to want to survive. So they're going to migrate if their desalination plants are attacked, and that leads to water shortages. So Trump has no fucking idea what he got us into, what he got himself into, what he got the world into, because just within a week, you can see how there are a million different ways that this can get so much worse and how things could spiral out of control. And the one thing that's really giving me worry that I can't get out of my mind is the fact that it's very likely that Trump is going to get more desperate as things get worse for him, both politically and militarily. Because, you know, the air war wasn't necessarily going well. Iran was able to capably defend themselves. So what is he doing? He's now considering boots on the ground. He's now bombing desalination plants, which is a serious escalation because we don't want to start fucking with the water supply in the Middle East. If they do it, Iran will do it. It's a tit for a tat. Yep. And he's raising the tit for tat. He's playing a game of chicken with Iran, not expecting them to retaliate, expecting them to blink first, but they're not. And I don't want to put this out into the universe, but he could get so desperate that he starts getting crazier. He's already talking about invading Cuba. He already launched a special military operation in Ecuador after he invaded Iran. So if things get so bad for him and it looks like he can't get a win after he does all these side quests, invading other countries, and it still looks really bad for him, his approval rating tanks, would it be out of the question to think that he could use an atomic bomb in Iran? Would he use...
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, look, crazier things, okay? These are crazy times. But yeesh. You say desalination? No, desalination, not desalination.
This is somebody who's a madman. I think that would be...
I mean, that's true. He is crazy.
Something that we have to consider because this individual is unhinged. So lawmakers need to not drag their fucking feet and they need to impeach him. There needs to be the 25th Amendment. I mean, this is all like wishful thinking, right? But I don't trust him. It's not going well for him, and we see how bad it's already getting after 1 week. So if it goes even worse for him, after he escalates, things could get a lot worse, a lot quicker. And it's already been so fucking bad. As Dropsite News reports, they've bombed 20 hospitals in Iran. This is a war crime. Each one of these hospitals is a war crime. You are not allowed to target civilian infrastructure, and that's what they're doing. They bombed 4 schools, including the U.S. bombing that killed 180 girls. And I don't just want to gloss over these war statistics with you. I want to show you the human toll. So this is the last photo of...
Even Henry Kissinger, welcome Redmond Berry, even Henry Kissinger advised Nixon to not use nukes in Vietnam. Yeah, but we're not, this guy is crazy. This guy's crazy. Not that it's gonna happen. I just don't know, honestly. At this point. The places using oil for electricity generation usually have something unusual making them use it. That way, Persian Gulf states with some tons of oil, islands not having sea lanes to coal producers or something, etc. Gotcha. The way he nukes Iran, he uses all natural resources Iran has, which is what he wants. Are you sure that's what he wants? Because he's blowing up the oil depots. It's unclear what this guy wants because, like, you have you have these people who are calling this like basically a Christian jihad, right? They don't care about the resources. They want the Armageddon to happen. And then there are people who just want like regime change and control, but not necessarily like it. Maybe I don't know if the resources is what he wants, but I don't know. He's bombing the oil depots, so it's unclear. That's what Russia does in Ukraine, by the way. He's not trying to take the oil; he's trying to deny oil to China. I mean, possibly, yeah. It's another avenue I've also heard, but I mean, I don't know. Is he really like that strategic? Does he know that this? I don't know. It's something I've heard, and it's possible.
Mikhail Murderagi. He is a 3rd grade student killed in the reported U.S.-Israeli strike on a primary school in Manab, Iran. And this kid is just like the embodiment of innocence. He could be my nephew. He was somebody's whole universe, and he's dead now. He's dead because of Donald Trump's war in Iran. Now, on that note, there's this 10-year-old Iranian girl named Manab and her brother, and both of her parents were killed. And based on the translation here from Clash Report, it seems like she witnessed her dad die as he was trying to save her mother. We're talking about innocent children here who should not be subjected to this. Iranian children are just as innocent as American children. These are children. But the Trump regime is targeting schools and targeting hospitals.
We don't really care, though. That's the
problem.
problem.
I can't get over the fact that this is just the new norm. It's not like the United States ever really respected the rules of war and the Geneva Conventions and whatnot. Look at what we did in Iran. But they're just so nakedly committing war crimes in front of all of our faces, and Americans
In fact, did we even sign the Geneva? Are we even beholden to the Geneva Convention? I thought we didn't even sign that shit. I might be thinking of something else. Ryan Bartek covered this policy paper describing the strategy. Gotcha. Roughly 15 to 20 billion barrels sitting untapped in Iran. I just can't see him risking his chance to not take control of that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's very like he is unstable, so it's unclear what exactly the aims are. But yeah, I mean, it's very plausible that it's just simply a way to deny China access to that. But like, China doesn't just need Iran; they can just go somewhere. I don't know, whatever. Trump is a known pedophile. True.
Are focused on the cost of gasoline, which, I mean, if any Iranian could trade places with Americans and just worry about the cost of, groceries and gas, I think they probably would. So I just want us to remember that there is a real price being paid, and it's in blood. It's children like Mikhail
100%. He doesn't care about kids.
And that little girl who are having to pay for Trump's disgusting bloody war. So I just wanted to give you some updates. Things are going south really quickly here, and I couldn't wait to talk about this until Monday. So I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm sorry for putting so much bad news on you, but I think we have to focus on what's happening, because if this does turn into a ground invasion, it's going to be so bad, and Trump can't fathom how bad that's going to be. And I would say that he
not here assuming what Trump is doing follows logic. Yeah, but also to kind of just like put a pin in that too. It's not just Trump, right? Like there are other forces moving the pieces, there are other forces moving the pieces. It might not just be Trump making these decisions. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know what exactly
can't fathom
is
how
going
bloody
on
it'll
here.
get, but he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care about anyone dying, Iranians, U.S. service members. He couldn't care less about that. It's just about, how do I get that win? The ends justify the means. So this would be the worst case scenario here, and it looks like that's already coming to fruition just a week after
My God.
the invasion. So buckle up, because it's going to be a tumultuous couple of weeks, my friends.
A couple of weeks? Man, we'll be lucky if it's a couple of weeks that we have to deal with this. I think Sassy, welcome. I think this is gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a really big problem. We're gonna be here for quite a while. We're gonna be here for a while, that's for sure. All right, folks, let me see how much I can get through this. I'll just do this one really quick, because this is like very quick. I don't need to talk about this. But another sinking rat has left the ship. Representative Kevin Kiley leaves the GOP to become an independent, complicating MAGA Mike Johnson's majority. Another rat has left the ship because they know stuff's gonna get really difficult for them politically. So yeah, fleeing rats, man, fleeing rats. Zoran Mamdani apparently was a target a target of some terroristic attacks. It was apparently teenagers which were charged with using weapons of mass destruction after they allegedly threw an improvised explosive device during an anti-Islam demonstration on Saturday outside the residence of Zoran Mamdani, according to a 10-page criminal complaint filed in a federal court. 18-year-old Emir Balad threw the device at protesters after they handed to him by Ibrahim Kayumi. It said both declared allegiance to the Islamic State terror group. The incident took place on Saturday during an anti-Islam protest by a right-wing agitator, of course, outside Gracie Mansion, Manhattan's Upper East Side. Mamdani, the city's first Muslim mayor, and his family were not at home. Neither of the devices exploded, and both were made safe by the NYPD bomb squad. Outside of the U.S. that missile already assumed as being from the U.S. Only in the U.S. are they trying to cover it up? Yeah, I mean, but there's no covering this one up. I mean, it's World War III, the last decades, unlike the first two. Yeesh. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's a scary thought, but it's quite possible that you are correct. It's seemingly more and more likely. I mean, like, none of the world wars just started off like in a small conflict. Like, none of the world wars just started out like big conflicts, right? They started out like in small, you know, places that started to all heat up at the same time. So yeah, I mean, this could be in the history books. We'll look back and say this is where this is how World War III started. I mean, it kind of basically is encompassing a lot of countries at this time. Anna, welcome. World War I started because of an assassination. True. The document signed by federal magistrate judge Gary Stein lists 5 charges against each: attempted provision of material, support, and resources to designated foreign terrorist organization, the use of a weapon of mass destruction, transportation of explosive materials, interstate transportation or receipt of explosives, unlawful possession of destructive devices. It said Balad was arrested in possession of a Turkish government ID and a Pennsylvania driver's license in his name. It gave no detail of Kayum's nationality, but said he was reported missing by his mother in Pennsylvania on Saturday. So yeah, I mean, scary stuff. Glad that Mamdani is fine. He wasn't even there. Nothing really happened. Yeah, scary stuff. Another catalyst for World War III would be China invading Taiwan, which they had never had a better chance to do. Yeah, I don't know if China's really gonna do that right now. I don't know. China just seems to stick to the strategy of do nothing and still win. I mean, it seems to work for them so far, so why bother, right? If it's not broken, don't fix it. China has just literally just been sitting there doing nothing and winning by doing nothing. I don't know if they want to jeopardize that. I mean, they could. I don't know if that's something that they're interested in doing right now. Oh my goodness. China and Taiwan are strongly integrated. Economic invasion would be counterproductive. China invading Taiwan would be such a massive strategic mistake, especially with BRICS allies are caught up in war. Do nothing and still win is a great formula for personal success in many cases as well. You control the flow of your own energy, but it's more difficult to guide the flow of others. That's true. We should be more concerned about the radicalization of boomers and youngsters. I mean, Gen Z has been very disappointing in certain areas, okay? Especially some portions of Gen Z men. But anyways. Alright, folks, we got a couple of more before we get out of here, because my energy's starting to run low, so we're just gonna try doing this as quickly as possible. Ambitious regimes make strategic mistakes all the time. Yeah, like ours. Like, prime example here. Prime example. China's been just kind of awfully quiet. They're just watching all this, you know, shit show go down. And watching the US get itself involved in this. What will you have for dinner? There's just rice and chicken. Rice and chicken, nothing more. The Trump administration subpoenaing the Arizona 2020 voting records as Trump pushes to consolidate election power. So it's not just going to be Georgia. He's setting his sights on Arizona too. Germany invading Russia, for example, yes. The Trump administration has subpoenaed records related to the 2020 election in Arizona's largest county. The state Senate president said on Monday, the latest in a series of steps taken by the president to relitigate an election he lost and bolster the federal government's authority over elections. Make no mistake, this is exactly what this is about. Make no mistake, this is exactly what this is about. You can do a lot with that and the right spices and seasonings. That's true. Welcome, Sevens. Put some fiber on there too, like a green vegetable. Oof, you're asking too much of me, okay? You're asking too much of me. No, I'm kidding. I get a lot of fiber. I like my oats, plain oats, and plain oats, and I eat some veggies. Okay, like my main favorite vegetable that I like to eat is broccoli. Although I did eat some mixed veggies earlier for lunch, and I ate some really oat heavy cereal. Some oat heavy cereal, so I definitely got a lot of fiber. Spices and seasonings. Yeah, well, there is going to be some seasoning on the chicken, of course. Of course. Okay, fellow oathead, I'm a big fan. Big fan of oats. It just depends. Like, we have the cereal oats, and we have just plain dried oats, and we boil them up and kind of make them into it almost looks like just straight up like rice. I'm literally sitting down to smash some chicken thighs, rice, and cauliflower. That sounds good, except for the cauliflower. I'm not a big fan. Although I would just eat broccoli in that case. What's everybody's spice tolerance? Zero. SimCity 2000 advisor voice. Don't skip greens, you'll regret it. No, I eat some veggies, okay? I force myself. Whether it be in soups, or whether I just hide it in, or whether I just hide it in some rice or whatever. Yeah, that's how I eat vegetables. Because I'm not a big fan, so I kind of just have to force myself. My spice tolerance is 4. No, I'm very bad with the spice, like actual heat. China has been way smarter. It doesn't have to even try. It's already positioned to crush the Western Bloc, and everything playing out is just the moves after checkmate. However, many moves have been solved and announced. Yeah, I mean, like I said, China doesn't have to do anything. We're doing all the L's. We're hanging ourselves, basically, essentially. They don't really have to do anything. They're already an economic superpower. They already have vast influence wherever they need to. So it's pretty much like they're good. They're good to go. they're good to go. Saris, welcome. Sorry you're feeling bad. I hope you're able to get some rest and take it easy. Yeah, I'm hanging in there. Really bad allergies. Really, really, really bad allergies is what's happening here. I used gochujang on these thighs. They're spicy bastards. No, I can't do that. Arizona State President Warren Peterson, a Republican, wrote in a Monday afternoon social media post that last week he received and complied with federal grand jury subpoena for records relating to Arizona's Arizona State Senate 2020 audit of Maricopa County, adding that the FBI has the records. Peterson was responding to a post from President Trump on Truth Social, calling the development, quote, great. Yeah, I mean, like, they're definitely trying to manufacture, they're trying to will into existence that President Trump actually won the 2020 election when he did not. Face masks can sometimes help with allergies. That's a good advice. I need to probably do that when I go outside. I don't know, this year particularly, like, I thought I had like some kind of cold or some kind of flu, but it's not a cold and it's not a flu, and it just hit me like a freaking truck. It's definitely not a cold or flu. It hit me like a freaking truck. So I've been on Zyrtec and Flonase for the past couple of days, and it seems to finally finally start giving me some relief. Today's the first day that I actually feel more or less like able to kind of like, you know, be myself and move around and not just be bedridden and miserable and just sneezing, and it's just been miserable. It really has been. But today's finally the first day that I've been able to kind of move up out of bed. Derry Bennett spring on Friday. Yeah, that's probably why all this stuff is happening. I voted for Trump 19 times. I had to because the Dems are definitely cheating. True. Very true. The moves come after 6 weeks after the FBI raided the election office in Atlanta, seizing records related to the 2020 election, as Trump continues to spread debunked conspiracy theories about voter fraud in that election. Arizona's Maricopa County, like Georgia's Fulton County, has long been a centerpiece of those conspiracy theories, with Republicans alleging widespread fraud in the 2020 election without evidence. Of course, Trump and his allies pushed Republicans in Arizona State Senate to audit the election in Maricopa County, which former President Biden narrowly carried in 2020, but the review, like many others, found no proof of substantial fraud. Because there wasn't any. There wasn't any. If there was any type of election interference, it was Trump and the Republicans, to the extent that was ongoing. But this idea that there was like widespread voter fraud, that people were just voting, illegal, undocumented people were voting, that there was like widespread election fraud that led to Donald Trump's defeat in 2020. It's just insane. That's delusional. That didn't happen. Yeah, Trump is gonna liberate us from the burden of pesky elections. So like they could literally just steal the election without setting the table like this. Yeah, essentially what they're trying to do is establish that, you know, the election was fraudulent, so therefore, well, them's torpedoing Bernie in the primaries. Yeah, but that's like a primary problem. Like the whole the problem with that is that primaries are basically like the primaries for both Democratic and Republican are basically just formalities that they allow us to have. That's the problem. There shouldn't be versions of primaries where Democratic the Democratic Party can just torpedo candidates they don't like, right? Like it shouldn't be that way. That is a whole other problem with how we run things, because, well, you know, like, who is this stuff supposed to convince? No one. It's supposed to keep the MAGA train going, I guess. I don't know. Ground level news. You've got a neti pot. What does that mean? The Justice Department noted in a 2021 memo that such audits are exceedingly rare and warned that it was concerned that some jurisdictions conducting them could violate federal law. Maricopa County runs elections in accordance with the law, said Barry in a statement. The president first seemingly publicly confirmed the expansion of the voting investigation earlier Monday when he reposted an article by right-leaning website Just the News, which reported that the FBI agents were receiving terabytes of electronic data from Maricopa County. Oh, neti pot must be something. What is that? Make sure you use this water in your neti pots, or I'm still shaking from a lady who was a neti pot and then gave herself brain-eating amoebas. Jesus Christ, what is that? Is it something for like your nose? That's a pseudoscience thing? Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm just trying to confirm what it is. It's a little pot you fill with salinated water and it flushes out your sinuses. Oh, so it's just like a water flush. Yeah, of course. Of course. That isn't pseudoscience. People literally just do that. It's nasal irrigation's the only thing that works for my allergies. Gotcha. Yeah, it's just literally okay, gotcha. Yeah, this makes total sense. Yeah, 100%. I need to look into that. I use a CPAP and use one to clean my sinuses. Gotcha. Heck yeah. I mean, it's water irrigation like that. Super. I was also like reading about that. as a last resort, because man, let me tell you, I was dying. I was dying and miserable. But anyways, really bad allergies. It's definitely not pseudoscience. No, it's not. Doesn't mean actually direct medicine, you'll see. Yeah, no, it's I think it's pretty it's this is like not even controversial. There's plenty of people who use irrigation systems to kind of just clean your sinuses out for allergies or other stuff. Yeah, it's not uncommon. It's not new. Barry is a spokesperson for the County Board of Supervisors, and the County Board splits some election responsibility with the County Recorder, Justin Heap. Judy Keene, a spokesperson for Heap, said his office had not received a subpoena as of Monday afternoon. Callie Jones, a spokesperson for Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes, deferred to Maricopa County elections, an office that consolidates some of the biggest operations, which did not immediately respond to requests for comment. At this time, our office is also attempting to track down accurate information and remains committed to providing whatever support necessary to our counties to ensure that they can stay focused and provide a secure and reliable 2026 election to voters despite antiquated systems and historic underfunding. Well, people are using it and it literally tells you, and they're telling you it works. There's nothing wrong with trusting that. Not all treatments are effective for 100% of patients, but they still work. The argument of popularity fallacy? No. It's like, this is like saying that you shouldn't take Benadryl because like whatever percent of people are like not, this is like saying you shouldn't take Benadryl because there are people that are immune to Benadryl or whatever. You know what I mean? Like this, it seems like you're just being contrarian and trying to sound like a debate bro. Probably trying to sound like a debate bro when in reality it's just like, dude, this is not even a new device. People say that the COVID vaccine causes cancer, so but evidence says that it doesn't, right? So again, it's like saying that you shouldn't take, I don't know, Tylenol because some people say it doesn't work or it doesn't work for them. Or whatever, you know? It just seems nonsense. I literally tried to leave it at check the medical studies. Okay. I started to close up the fistulas. The worms ate through several different places around my body. It's not like allergies, but it's a mess. Yeesh. That sounds rough. Yeah, I mean, like, you can just look up studies, and it seems to me that as far as stuffy nose and sinus problems, it seems to be pretty good. So yeah, anyways. I had a guy buying cold meds for his kids and tried to drag me into a convo about contrails last week. You carried it on and still gone. The Nettycast. You're the one that was trying to be a debate bro, so now here we are. But anyways, apparently a ton of the things eat through don't heal by themselves. You're gonna take medicine to kill off the animals themselves. Yeah, I bet. Probably. I don't know if it's antibiotics or whatever. That's rough. At this time, our office is also attempting to track down the accurate information and remains committed to providing whatever support necessary to our counties to ensure that they can stay focused and provide a secure and reliable 2026 election to voters despite antiquated systems and historic underfunding. I mean, that sounds to me like the story. HEAP, a Republican, sued Maricopa's Board of Supervisors last month as part of the protracted dispute over election authorities in the county. HEAP won election in 2024 after successfully challenging then-recorder Stephen Richer in a primary fueled by parts Richer's vocal opposition to the president's conspiracy theories about elections in the county and post-2020 Senate review. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, a Democrat, accused Peterson of using his platform as Senate president to legitimize the conspiracy theories that Arizona's own courts and law enforcement have thoroughly debunked. Yep. What the Trump administration appears to be pursuing now is not a legitimate law enforcement inquiry. It is the weaponization of federal law enforcement in the service of crackpots and lies. I mean, like, yeah. Remember how we were told that it was actually the Democrats who were weaponizing the Justice Department? Yeah. I can't say anything less than I'd be called a debate bro. Yeah, but when you start talking about, like, argument from popularity fallacy. Yeah, dude, you're just gonna be called a debate bro. A unnecessary contrarian. I never heard anything like this before it happened to me. I don't understand how the same kind of animals do different things to different kind of people either. That's how it works. It's kind of like how different things affect different people, different ways. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, participated in the raid in Fulton County, and the next day facilitated a phone call between Trump and some FBI agents at a local field office. Her role in the Georgia raid raised alarm for Democrats and election experts who noted that it is highly unusual for the ODNI to participate in domestic law enforcement activities. Officials working for Gabbard also obtained voting machines from Puerto Rico to study their susceptibility to hacks. I mean, like, this whole thing is like basically... this entire thing is going to become a convoluted scheme to basically try to fabricate this idea that the 2020 election was stolen, when obviously none of that happened. That just didn't happen. So yeah. I mean, we talked about this earlier, so I'm not gonna really go any further. It seems like the evidence has pointed that it was actually the United States missile who killed the 165 plus children. And it seems pretty confirmed. A U.S. official familiar with the internal deliberations on the matter told the AP that the strike was likely American. The official spoke on anonymously because they were not authorized to comment publicly on sensitive matters. The new footage, first analyzed by investigative group Bellingcat, was taken the day the school was struck, but circulated Sunday by Iran semi-official Mir news agency. It shows a missile hitting a building, sending dark plume of smoke in the air. The AP was able to geolocate the video and determine it was taken from a site adjacent to the school. While smoke was already rising from the school vicinity, satellite imagery of the compound is consistent with visual identifiers found in the video, including a flat roof building, power lines, and vehicles. Trevor Boy, Bellingcat researcher, identified the munition as a Tomahawk cruise missile, which only the U.S. is known to possess, and this war is the first it was the first evidence of a munition used in the strike. U.S. Central Command has acknowledged using Tomahawk missiles in the war and even released a picture of the U.S. Spruance as part of the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier group located within the range of the school, firing a Tomahawk missile on February 28th. I mean, like, it's pretty it's pretty obvious to me that we basically killed 165 children. Your taxpayer dollars, your tax dollars paid for this, by the way. So yeah, if you're American, our tax dollars are going to killing children and bombing Iranian civilians. That's what's happening here. That's what's happening. Scheme formed by the dumbest people on the planet. Yep. Not to mention, it's unheard of for the POTUS to speak with FBI agents in the field executing a warrant. Yeah, because like they all think that they're all going to try to manufacture this story, right, of election fraud or whatever, which just isn't true. Okay, the election of 2020 was not stolen. Okay, it just didn't happen. The election wasn't stolen or anything like that. This is pure delusion from Donald Trump. That's just what's happening right now. But yeah, I mean, the state of the situation is not great. Not great at all. We'll see if we are going to get ourselves out of this war anytime soon. Probably not, but we'll see. Probably not, but we'll see. All right, folks, it's about that time. Thank you all for being here, folks. We did pretty good. Trying to get through all the stuff. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. I appreciate all of you guys. Can we say he won in 2020 so he can't be president now? If that's true, right? That would be true. That's a good point. I'm hopefully going to be able to diverse myself with U.S. citizenship as soon as possible. Godspeed. Godspeed. Your imagination. It's fabricated. Okay, he lost the 2020 election. Right? But I hope you feel better. Thank you, Ladybug. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. He's gonna claim he can have a fourth term because he already had a third term, which is annoying and ugly. Yep. Take care of yourself. I will. I'm gonna try to get some rest and continue my anti-allergy regimen. And hopefully everything is okay. Yeah, just rename the U.S. Epstein Island. I'm allergic to squirrels. Adios. Hasta la vista. Welcome, welcome. Jaja, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, hasta la vista. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support. If you want to support the channel directly, there are many ways of doing so. Please consider checking out the merch store, checking out the exclamation mark tip. Thank you, appreciate it. Join the Discord, folks. Join the Discord. Do the stuff, the Substack and the Discord and the stuff and the links and the things. You know what I mean? All the stuff. Netty Pot Nation, good night. Thank you all for being here as always, folks. Please stay safe. Thank you, Michael Hasser, for modding the chat. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Alviano, hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 7 p.m. on this space. See you, everybody. Ooh. We barely made it, folks. Spaniards make appearances in Germany and vice versa, but it's a different set of issues. Yeah. I'm gonna go have some salinated water. Hang tight, folks. Hang tight. Alright, folks. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.